Hello, this is Ted Argyle from Adrenalin Martial Arts Centre, and welcome to day 26 of 30, where I explore the 30 lessons that I've learned as a full-time martial artist, a full-time martial arts instructor, and as a business owner for the last 20 years. Today I want to talk about the importance of keeping yourself educated. And this is something I've learnt as a martial arts instructor. And when I say education, I mean martial arts education. I've always been into developing myself as a martial artist, and both physically and also intellectually, meaning that right from the word go, I was fascinated by martial arts magazines, martial arts books. A little bit down the road, I got into collecting instructional VHS video cassettes. Do you remember what they are? This is before YouTube, before the internet sort of came to the foray. I would spend hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, definitely thousands of dollars per year on videotapes from all over the world on different aspects of the martial arts. And then, of course, that moved into the DVDs. I have approximately something in the nature of 120, 130 DVDs, which are martial arts related. Now that most of that information is free, I do from time to time purchase something that piques my interest. But for the most part, I've done that not so I can, teach all of those different techniques and all those different aspects of the martial arts, but more so to keep myself in the game and to keep myself in the loop and to figure out what other people around the world are doing. That's easy now on the internet, of course it is, but I've been at this now for about 28 years with that mindset of trying to really understand the martial arts as a total industry. Not just what I teach, I also explore other systems as well. Not because I want to teach those or anything like that, because I think you do have to teach what you know, and you do have to teach where your experience is. Otherwise, that's fraught with danger. But I do keep myself educated on what different martial arts are working on from all around the world. And I think that's important as a martial arts teacher. That way you have a field of reference from what you're teaching. And in my mind, it kind of reminds me of something I remember reading. I read in a sales book of all things years ago, and the guy talked about being a doctor of selling. I don't prescribe myself as a salesman at all, but I went through a period about 25 years ago where I was interested in that subject matter. It was around the same time that I was interested in personal development, and as part of that personal development path was I kept on coming back to the sales education. So I read a few books on sales, just more so to understand the psychology of selling and more so how to communicate more clearly with people who are interested in your service, as opposed to trying to convince people to buy something they're not interested in. But that aside, the guy talked about becoming a doctor of selling, meaning that, and his analogy was, if you went to a doctor, would you trust a doctor who hadn't picked up a book, hadn't attended a seminar, or hadn't done anything since they become qualified as a doctor, when they're at university or whatever? The answer is probably no. Would you trust a doctor who is constantly researching, constantly developing themselves, and constantly keeping ahead of the curve as far as what's going on in their industry? And you'd have to say, yes, of course you would. I kind of think of my role as the same. I could never be as pretentious as to state that I'm a doctor of martial arts by any stretch of the imagination. I've actually taught a few doctors, and I know that that's a massive sacrifice, and they do an exhaustive amount of study and an exhaustive amount of work, and they're also very highly intelligent individuals. And I would hate to be so pretentious as to call myself a doctor of martial arts. But I've certainly approached martial arts with that, scholastic kind of, from that scholastic mindset of consistently keeping myself educated, consistently being aware of what's going on, and consistently pushing myself to keep myself in the game. I think as a martial arts instructor, that's really, really important. As I said before, that gives you a frame of reference from what you're teaching, meaning if you're teaching technique A, B, or C, you may be able to reference that and say, look, in different martial arts, they'll do it this way or that way. We're doing it this way for this reason. That way it gives your students a frame of reference. In particular, if they've done different martial arts before, they'll see where your train of thought is coming from. Anyway, that's something I've learned as a martial arts instructor, and that's the importance of keeping yourself martial arts educated. The cool thing with that now is that that's so much easier and a lot cheaper as well. But anyway, that's what I've got to share today. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow in day 27. Thanks for watching.